This is A is for Adversity, a podcast about curating your life stories to connect more deeply with others. Some stories may have Christian undertones, and all stories will involve a realization or transformation of some sort. I'm your host, Jen Banks. This is episode M, Mindset and Mental Health with Wellness Creek. One of the unexpected advantages of having a podcast is all the amazing people I get to meet when I have guest interviews. I met Abby in a Facebook group entitled Women in Podcasting. We connected on Matchup Monday and decided we were a great fit. I've said before that there is so much to learn from every person you meet, so if you're interested in being a guest on my podcast, please reach out to me. I know I could learn something from you that I could share with my listeners. In the interview I'm sharing today, her experiences mostly come from becoming a mother and her postpartum journey, but her expertise and insight can be of use to anyone who is looking for help.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. I'm so sorry. I'm in a closet, so it's not the best setup, but
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. I've definitely done
Yes.
similar activities, so.
yes, I've kind of double booked myself because I'm actually in Boise, Idaho, visiting some friends and things. So it's like, oh, I just came to do this interview and then I'll go back to all the things. So,
Nice. I was born in McCall, Idaho.
oh, okay, got it.
Yeah,
Awesome.
cool.
And where are you right now again?
I'm in North Vancouver, BC, Canada.
Oh,
So,
okay. Wow,
yeah.
that's awesome. Well, you're
Yeah,
my first international guest then.
perfect. What an honor.
There you go. That's awesome. Perfect. So, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit to my listeners?
I would love to. Yeah, so my name is Abby Hildebrand. I am the founder of Wellness Creek. We are a postpartum support and anxiety management coaching group. And yeah, I'm just excited to connect with you, Jen, and share my story and hopefully give some tips or help some people who might be experiencing something similar.
Yes, that's wonderful. I'm so excited to connect with you as well. It's so awesome to meet new people and to connect through stories. So that's awesome. I can relate for sure. I have two young boys, and I had postpartum depression after my first baby, and I didn't recognize it at first. Most people probably don't. And then, yeah, once I got help, it just made a world of difference. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
good for you for getting the help.
yeah. So
Yeah.
what's your story with postpartum?
Yeah, so I have one beautiful baby girl. She was born on Christmas Day of 2019.
Wow.
But the anxiety part of it started before she was born, for me, because I mean, lots of reasons, but a big contributor was we had a miscarriage in 2015. After finding out that I had some health concerns, I had PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and so was told, you might not be able to have kids, or it might not look exactly the way you want it to look. And then we miscarried, so it was kind of like confirmation that the things they were saying might be true. And then we didn't get pregnant again until 2019. And it was really when we released the expectation of getting pregnant, of just like saying, you know what, we have a really awesome life and it'll be what it'll be. And then as many stories go, it came to be that we were pregnant. But then that fear still comes up, right? Where you think, well, what if I'm not able to carry this baby to full term? What if she is born, but there's something that goes wrong? I was 36 when I got pregnant. So I was a geriatric pregnancy. And so then there's like all these flags and warnings that come with being an older mom, even though I didn't really feel like my body was that old. So then, of course, there's anxiety around that builds. So that's really where it started for me. And then it just magnified after Elizabeth was born. And she was born like pre-pandemic lockdown, just barely.
Mm.
But it was like when I finally started to kind of get my mind in place, she was 3 months old when all of a sudden we all went into lockdown. And then it was like, well, dang, now what? Now I
Mm-hmm.
actually feel like I could leave my house and there's no mommy and me groups, or, the supports you might normally go after in that phase.
Yeah. So would you say that was the catalyst for you starting Wellness Creek, or was it something else, or a combination of things?
Yeah, it was a combination of things. Elizabeth had some digestive issues when she was like brand new, and so I reached out to a friend, and she offered some essential oils to help with her digestion because I was really like our doctor was like wanted to do this whole crazy rigmarole of tests, and I was like, I just like something about it didn't feel right. So I was like, I'm gonna see if there's something else first. So she gave us this essential oil, which like within 2 days, Elizabeth was not crying 20 hours a day any longer.
Mm,
Um, and it made me realize that like, wow, there's probably a lot of resources out there in the world like this that you don't even know because you don't even know what to look for,
mm,
especially when you're in that like heightened state of anxiety, right? And you're just constantly looking for dangers and not solutions.
right.
So that kind of began my journey into seeing like, well, how could I share resources with other moms? And then I started doing like expanding my learning into some mindset coaching. I worked with a mindset coach. I'm still working with her. She's amazing. I started exploring breath work, and just having a tool like breath work that I could, practice breathing while I was holding a screaming baby
Yes.
was really so powerful. And I was like, does everybody know about this stuff? Because they should. And that really solidified like, okay, we gotta help spread the word that there's just people have options.
Yeah, that's so important. That's awesome. Was there a moment of realization or transformation in your journey, or something that sticks out as really changing you?
um I think like transformation to me is ongoing.
Yes.
But something that has stuck out to me, and more so recently, is that in all of the anxiety and all of the depression and all of the, regret, even I'll say regret about missing the beginning of my daughter's life because I was so consumed with these negative feelings, and was that I was able to come out of it and get help. And that actually that has kind of become a superpower of mine, is asking for help
Mm,
on behalf of those who need it and don't necessarily feel comfortable to ask for help. So
yeah.
I think that was kind of like the biggest opportunity for me.
Yeah. Sounds like you've become an advocate for other moms and people who
Yeah.
need that help. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like it's becoming better, but still very taboo, kind of mental health and those types of things. Especially as a mom, you want to seem that you're strong and capable, but it's good to be vulnerable and accept that help too when we do need it. So that's so true.
Yeah. Yeah, I do see it as a strength in so many people that you can recognize when you can get support. Because I heard this on my daughter was watching an animal show this morning, and they were talking about wild boars and how wild boars actually get support from other mother boars
Hmm.
with their young when they have too many, and and the piglets are going wild. And I was like, see, even they have a village. Like
There you
everybody
go.
needs a village.
So true. Oh, so true. And then what's one of your favorite quotes? I'm a quote collector, so I always love hearing some of people's favorites.
I also feel like a quote collector, so I love that about you. I have so many like that I just jot down whenever I hear them, but one that is really near and dear to my heart, I'll share two with you. So one
Yes.
that's really near and dear to my heart is a quote that is actually from my mom.
Hmm. Great.
And she, when my maternal grandmother, her mother passed away, and we were dealing with her estate and everything, my mom created a CPR statement, which I don't know if you know about the CPR statements.
Or
Yeah, it's like
no.
context, purpose, result.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
so it's like a way of framing how you want to proceed into something.
Got it.
And so her CPR statement for that transition was love is all there is. And it became this kind of like anthem, especially between my sister and my mom and I, is that no matter what, just come back to love. Like that's the foundation, and know that that's genuinely where people are coming from, even when they're acting out of, rage or anger or depression, that ultimately it's still for love of something or someone.
Beautiful. I love that.
And then the other one from my mom is from Samuel Beckett, but my mom would say it to me all the time when I was like having a really bad day and didn't want to do whatever thing. She would say, I can't go on, I'll go on. And it was like such a good reminder that even when we don't feel strong, we're still building resilience by proceeding anyway.
Wow. Yeah, that's so true. It's so good and refreshing to talk to you. I feel like you just have this strength that everyone needs, to learn from and take that example on. That's so wonderful. I love that. Resilience. That's a powerful word too. So what types of things do you do with your clients? Or I know you mentioned that you liked breathing exercises and things with thought work. Is that kind of how you run your practice too?
Yeah, I like to incorporate breath work with all of my clients in some capacity. A lot of the breath work I do is a little bit more like generalist. You don't have to go into a dark room and hyperventilate for 20 minutes. It's something literally you can do while you're having a conversation with someone. So things like heart activation, breathing techniques, just to really focus on giving my clients the tools to shift themselves out of their fight or flight, their sympathetic nervous system, and come into that parasympathetic or that rest, restore, and digest so that they can see the path ahead. Because that's another brilliant quote. Brendan Burchard said, if the mind can't see the path, the heart will ask to pause. And so I think that a lot with people with anxiety is it's like they're activated, they're triggered by something and they don't know where to put it. They don't know how to use it. And so how can we take that anxiety and use it to our advantage and put us into forward action instead of like scattered action?
Yes, that's great. And then how do you see medication and that role in all of this? Or do you see it as a support or?
It's totally up to the individual. I have no judgments or preconceptions about any of it. For me, it wasn't an avenue I wanted to go down until I had to. So I was willing to explore other options first. I have a history, I don't, but in my family, there's a history of drug abuse and alcoholism. And so it's something that I've been pretty conscious of my whole life that I don't know if I'm an addict because I've never even explored it, gone down that path. So for me, it just didn't feel like the right thing. But for somebody else, like if they feel like antidepressants are the right way to go to normalize hormones and to just get themselves able to, get a breath of fresh air, then totally. You have to, I think people generally know what is right for them. They just don't always trust themselves.
Yeah, I think that's true for sure. The history in my family is anxiety, depression, all the things, so it kind of feels overwhelming just to know that that's your history, and not try to, I don't know what the word is, but just not like a self-fulfilling prophecy, but just, I guess, knowing those things so that then you can have more tools to combat them or to be prepared for it should it arise. So that's good. I love too that you said there are other options, there are other avenues that you can go down and try and then ultimately know what's best for yourself. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time, and I try to keep my podcast episodes sort of short. So this has been so insightful. So I really do appreciate your time and your willingness to come on my podcast.
Thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. I love these random connections, and you're down in Boise and that's like literally where I started.
Yeah,
so
that's so funny. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you. And
yeah, no, I really love it. I love just like sharing messages of hope in general. I think whoever's doing it, like sign me up.
Yes, that's so awesome. Thank you. Well, I love your personality and it's been so fun chatting again, just listening to you. So thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah.
Ditto. I hope you have a good trip.
Thank you.
Get home safe.
Yes, thanks. Okay, bye. If you found this episode helpful, or it reminded you of someone whom it could help, please share it. Also, leave me a review wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you. If you'd like to pitch your story for the podcast, or if you want more storytelling strategies, contact me at jenbanks16@gmail.com, or find me on Instagram at jenbankscoaching.